Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, guys. The Trump team is moving quickly and have dropped some bombshell news. The Trump administration has initiated a special project, guys. This special project is going to bring justice for the Jan 6ers. Check this out. The Trump Justice Department fires officials who investigated Trump and launches special project into the January 6 cases. And guys, this goes on to read that we literally are going to be investigating the entire January 6 committee. And they're going to be finding justice. Every January 6er that was prosecuted, they're now going after that prosecutor that targeted them. The Department of Justice said that they weaponized the system in order to get back at Trump's people. So we are now seeing this special project that Trump is making for the Department of Justice to get justice for MAGA. On top of that, we got inside news from Tucker Carlson and Matt Taibbi over the January 6th committee, the pardons, and what's coming next. Trump also, in a big speech today, has reiterated again that he is working on the External Revenue Service and that instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, he said we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. We give hundreds of billions of dollars every year to foreign aid. Finally, we have a president who says that we should flip it and put Americans first. This comes from wanting to abolish the IRS and show transparency. That during Biden's administration, the IRS, guys, listen to this, the IRS audited people making under $400,000 90% of the time. This is insane. Trump has now also created a rapid response team to tackle fake news on his America First agenda. So they can't stop the news, they can't stop, and they're not going to censor people, but he has literally created a dedicated team to combat fake news on social media, showing the big difference between Democrats and MAGA in not wanting to censor you, but fighting fire with fire. On top of that, Congress, this is a big one, everybody. Congress is officially summoning the mayors of prominent sanctuary cities like Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York City to testify before Congress on why they're fighting Trump's mass deportation of criminals. These are people we know that are criminals, and they are going to testify now before Congress on why they're trying to protect these individual migrants. We got a ton of breaking news to go over, guys, today. I want to say thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you so much to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. It's just below the video. Let's continue to grow the TrueLife News family. I want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. Appreciate y'all so much in our effort to grow this family. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that supports our channel just by watching, guys. I appreciate it so much. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much with growing the channel and getting the truth out there, guys. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation and helping us to give back to charity. But we got a ton of breaking news. Just like I showed you a moment ago, Trump's Justice Department has fired officials who investigated Trump and launched a special project into the January 6 cases, guys. This is huge. Check this out.
Interventionist in the traditional, I hate the term, neocon way. Pete Hegseth, however, is not stupid and realizes the United States does have to secure sea lanes, open trade, open travel. The world requires it. And if you're going to F around with us, you are going to find out. But what Pete is saying is you're going to find out quick, shock and awe. You're going to find out quick, and it is going to be decisive. There's not going to be any more Brown. It's not going to be any more PC wars. There's going to be overwhelming force, and the enemy is going to die quickly.
Yes.
That's it. Pete's 3 principles there. Secretary Hegseth. Sorry, it's going to take a little getting used to. No, I promise you, zero disrespect intended. And it's not one of these humble brags. Oh, I know Pete. A lot of people know Pete. It's Secretary Hegseth. It's proper. It reminds me of Fox Connor's rules of war. Fox Connor's rules of war, very simple. And I encourage the Secretary and others, and they know about them. They don't need to hear them from me. But digest all of them. Never go to war alone. Never go to war for long. And never go to war unless we absolutely have to. You apply those to Secretary Hegseth's now 3 principles here of lethality and how we're going to build our military, and we're going to not only build up our military, but if we get involved, we are going to get involved to win and win decisively. And ladies and gentlemen, you got an unbeatable formula in the world's greatest military to establish American dominance again. Here was President Trump on the confirmation of now Secretary Hegseth. Quick 20 seconds on it. President Trump gets it. He knows he picked the right guy. And thank you again, Bongino Army, for getting this done. You guys and ladies are the best out there. Listen to this. Check this out.
Honored to have Pete. I think Pete's going to be a great Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. And we're honored to have him.
I apologize. I couldn't hear you. Did you say you were speaking to him on the phone?
No, I did speak to Pete, yeah, in the plane, in the helicopter. I think Pete is going to be a great Secretary of Defense.
Are you disappointed that McConnell voted no?
I didn't even know that. No, I don't know that. I just heard that we won. Winning is what matters, right?
Yes.
Catch up in the chat. Mitch McConnell and will always be a sellout, traitor to the U.S., and snake in the grass. Of course, McConnell voting no on now Secretary Hegseth. McConnell's all about party unity until it's about McConnell, and he can make a fake statement. McConnell's a fraud. He's always been a fraud. Sick of McConnell. A couple of good things he did, the filibuster fight, that's it. But it doesn't compensate for his attacks on people like Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, and elsewhere. I'm tired of him. Murkowski, of course, a total joke. I'll keep telling. By the way, whoever is the guy on Twitter, because I follow a lot of your traffic guys. This is like an interactive type of show. I want to make sure you guys and I are vibing. Who said Dan Bongino said Collins is great or Collins shouldn't be primary or something. Do you guys remember that on the show? Can you pull that segment for me? He's like, no, we can't because that segment never happened. That's not what I said. Because then 1,000 people respond, I never trusted that guy. Well, that's great because I'm not that guy, so you can trust the other guy. My take on Collins is this. Nothing to do with you had a primary, you'll go right ahead. My take on Collins is we have a limited amount of political capital to get things done.
Yes.
Wasting a lot of time on Collins in a blue state is not the best way to move the ball forward when we can spend a lot of time and effort getting rid of Murkowski and McConnell in freaking red states. That's what I'm saying. Nobody ever said don't ever primary. Where did you hear that on the show? If you can pull that, I'd be quite impressed because it never happened. I'm not defending Collins. She's always going to screw us over. But you're not going to do any better in Maine. You want to go up there and spend $1 billion on a seat we're likely going to lose rather than getting rid of McConnell and Murkowski and getting real Republicans in there. That's your call. Do you not trust the plan? The plan I told you in the last election, did it work? Everybody we had on the show, Bernie Moreno, John Tester, these guys won. Dave McCormick. Trust your boy. Vice President J.D. Vance did his first vice presidential interview. Listen, I saw a couple people commenting on Twitter that friends of mine too, that he should have done a conservative outlet first. You know, this is one of those things where it pains me to say it, but I actually disagree. Why does it pain me to say it? Pain me to say this because, number one, the people who are saying it, I really love. But second, I feel like we should have gotten the first interview because we really went hard for J.D. Vance. But I've got to be straight with you, folks. I can't get emotional about this stuff. I'm an outcomes-based guy. J.D. Vance doesn't need to convince our audience he's the guy. He needs to convince a squishy 5-6% of the population to get behind this legislative agenda. And truth be told, he's so good at just politically destroying left-wing media narratives
100%.
that he's far better off on these shows. He just is. It pains me to say I would have loved to get the first interview, but that's not the way that, it's Miss Gilfeather used to say, my fifth grade teacher, the cookie crumbles. Here he is in his interview on CBS with Margaret Brennan. And again, just absolutely destroying this ridiculous narrative that because immigrants partook in the creation of the United States and its wealth, which happens in every country on earth, that we're then obligated to continue a destructive and dangerous immigration policy. These two things are non sequiturs.
Guys, this is so amazing. Sorry to interrupt, but we got over 900 people watching already, guys, under 10 minutes. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so, guys. It helps the channel out so much. You are so awesome.
Margaret Brennan thinks she got it. She gets him on this one. Watch JD just blow this thing out. Check this out.
This is a very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers. But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world.
Thank you, JD. And you know what I find fascinating about this question? This is how you're going to address this, okay? Well, that sounded very, sounded like a kind of a dick there. This is how you should address this with your liberal friends, if you have any left. We're a country built by immigrants. Well, no kidding. They did play a role in creating this country. As JD accurately said, there were some settlers, there were Native Americans, there were other people here. Every country on earth has had people cross the border, and we're naturally, travelers, and a lot of people can be very nomadic. Okay, this has nothing to do with anything. The question is, what's the most effective immigration policy for the United States? But that's not the point. When they bring up the country was built by immigrants, you know what you should say to them? You ready? Write this down. You know, it's fascinating how you guys only seem to like history when it fits your narrative.
100%.
Crazy, right? Chat, tell me I'm wrong. Every other bit of our history, positive and negative, they want to wipe out. Everything. Statues, the Civil War, even though we fought for people's independence. Other people fought against it. Right, but the good side won. The good side won. They don't care about our history at all. They want to wipe all of our history clean. Until it comes to a narrative that we should have open borders, they're like, oh, no, the place was built by immigrants.
Guys, let me tell you this, and they are cleaning up right now, guys. The amount of change that is coming, this right here is insane. So Trump Justice Department fires officials who investigated Trump and launches special project into January 6 cases. What are these cases, guys? They're going after all the people that targeted Trump supporters at the January 6 protest. Even the ones that didn't even go inside. They targeted them. On top of that, Justice Department moves to fire at least 12 officials who investigated Trump. Guys, 12. They are seeking and making sure that Americans know the truth. They are going to stand before Congress and they're going to testify on how they weaponized government, not only to go after the Jan 6ers, but also to go after Trump. But you know what? I got to show you some good news, guys. Because again, too, Trump is not only creating this special project, but he announced today, Trump said instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. This goes on to say we need to get rid of the Internal Revenue Service. We need to focus on external revenue and focus on making sure that we're not taxing our citizens and giving hundreds of billions of dollars to overseas countries, which is what we're currently doing right now. Because right now, we're at war with the CCP, guys. Listen to this.
$0.8 trillion down on the combined American equity markets, including NVIDIA, the chip maker, down almost $600 billion. Think about that for a second. There are industries that don't have $600 billion of market cap or equity value. $600 billion, one stock, one day. And we're finding out, as Andrew Ross Sorkin sitting there going, hey, there might have been 50,000 NVIDIA chips into this. Nobody knows. Why is that a big deal, Mr. Bannon? Because there are not supposed to be any NVIDIA chips over in China. It's restricted. Just to set the framework here, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to have some folks come in and talk big picture on this. If President Trump's finished, we'll have that. I've set the frame here. But number one, why did the intelligence services miss this? Once again, why did they miss this? And they say, Steve, how do you know they missed this? Well, I know they missed this, so they missed this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had guys like Andreessen and these people out there. Others are shocked as they were. The intelligence service, another miss. Just saying, only pay, hundreds of billions of dollars for it. John Ratcliffe, Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire is reporting right now that John Ratcliffe is actually meeting with people inside the CIA. And guess what's bubbling up? You know what's bubbling up? Because yesterday they announced that the real report of the CIA is that the pandemic came from a lab leak in Wuhan. Where did I hear that before? Oh, yeah, that's right, in the show War Room Pandemic back in January 23rd or January 15th or 16th, whatever date it was, of 2020. That would be 5 years ago, a half a decade. People inside the CIA now are saying it's getting to Ratcliffe. I think they're working on a report that says, wait for it, that might have been deliberate.
What?
Like a bioweapon that had done gain of function to power up, and then it was released by the Chinese Communist Party, the PLA and the Chinese Communist Party.
Wow.
Once again, folks, as much as I know people don't want to deal with this, the Chinese Communist Party is at war with the United States of America. It's called unrestricted warfare.
100%.
The textbook of that was written by two colonels who were kind of the information warfare guys that were assigned to look at the Gulf War, not the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. For you youngsters, we had a war before that. We had a war to, quote-unquote, save Kuwait for democracy. Remember that? Remember all the phony Cheney stuff they were putting out at that time? That, you know, there were all these Democrats in Kuwait, and the Iraqis are going into the hospitals and banning the babies. All lies to get us to defend the oil of Saudi Arabia. Hey, at the time, maybe you had to do it. We had a Gulf War. The Chinese looked at that and studied that because we won so quickly, so overwhelmingly, so easily, with a handful of casualties. I think 100 dead. Massive victory, and could have gone all the way to Baghdad, but I think Bush made the decision at the time. He says, hey, look, my thing was to stop this, not to go take that, because then we're going to own it. Colin Powell and others talked to me about it. What they came up, this was the conclusion to the beginning of the book, which was their textbook, Unrestricted Warfare. They said foreign devils, that would be us, foreign devils really know how to pull up alongside like Nelson, unsheath the guns and let it go, let it rip, and they will win. They're very good at that. They've perfected that. That's exactly how we don't want to fight them. So let's go Sun Tzu to the 10th power. In fact, if we have to get in a shooting war, that by definition means we're losing. Or we're going to lose against the foreign devils. So here's what we do. We have to go all types of other warfare, cyber warfare, information warfare, political warfare, economic warfare, all of it to destroy and beat into submission foreign devils.
Guys, I'm telling you, today has been a huge rocking day. The stock market got a huge hit, finding out that the CCP has their own AI stuff that they've been working on. Guys, huge hit, but again, too, the TikTok thing that's happening, there's a lot of things going on that we got to protect America first. But what I love is that just like you're seeing right here, the Trump administration has initiated a special project to investigate prosecutors involved in the January 6 cases, according to an internal memo. Because we know there was literally people outside of the Capitol that still went to jail, even though they didn't even go inside. And on top of that, guess what else Trump has launched today? This is from the White House, everybody. The official rapid response account of the Trump 47 White House. America is back. So this account is going to be used to combat fake news. What Trump says. This is literally coming straight from the White House, everybody. But what it is that his American First agenda, he wants to make sure that everybody knows exactly what's going on and what is going to happen. Because again, too, there's CNN and all of them are going to try to twist it, but Trump wants to make sure that we get the news 100%. And just want to say again, too, guys, we got over almost 1,400 people watching, guys. So exciting, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so, guys. It really does help the channel so much. I get so excited just building this community, guys, bringing the truth. We also got today, Mike Johnson gave a speech over what is going on in the next steps of Trump's big agenda because things are moving so fast. Check this out.
You've seen that the president has accomplished more in his first week in office than Joe Biden did for the American people in 4 years. And everyone's talking about it. The Democratic Party is in disarray. They have no obvious leader. They have no obvious vision or agenda. Their platform has to be rewritten whole cloth, and they don't exactly know how they're going to wander in this wilderness for the next couple of years. It's not just going to be a couple of years, though. It's going to be 4 years at least, and then more, because we are going to grow the House majority in 2026. Historically, when the president takes the Oval Office, then his party then loses, on average, a number of seats in the House in that first midterm. That won't happen this time around because there's been a sea change. And we're going to deliver on this agenda, and that begins now. And so we're here for 3 days here at Doral International, President Trump's beautiful club here. Hope you all enjoy the time. We're going to be working the whole time. We won't get to enjoy much of it, but that's by design. We'll be in these long sessions with the House Republicans working through the agenda. You all heard me talk about the proverbial playbook that we developed over the last year leading up to this moment that we knew would happen. And now we're working out the final sequence of the plays. And so some big decisions will be made here in the next few days, and we'll align with the Senate and our colleagues there, and we will move forward on that agenda. The reconciliation process, the appropriations that we have to wrap up, and the other issues that are upon us. So all the Republicans are rolling their sleeves up. There is a lot of work being done. There has been a lot of work done behind the scenes up to lead us to this point. And we are really excited to deliver for the American people, and we will. Lots happening. The most recently, I'm sure there'll be a question or two about Colombia, the last events of the last 24, 36 hours. I think that was a signal. When the president engaged with the president of Colombia about the situation there, Colombia did an about face, and they decided they would indeed cooperate and take back their citizens who came here illegally. Violent criminals from other nations will be the first to be deported, and countries must participate. And as soon as Colombia pushed back against the White House, I went immediately to social media. I was here in Florida meeting with donors and party officials, and stepped out of that meeting and said, the Congress will back up the White House, and we will move as necessary on any country. This was a message to Colombia and anyone else.
Dang.
You have to participate. You have to take back the illegals who came here that come from your country.
Yes.
And if not, then we will act and we will engage with sanctions or any other measures that are appropriate to back up the president's agenda. That's what the American people demand and deserve. We are going to secure that border. We are going to make America safe and secure again, and the Congress will have no daylight between us and the White House on that issue. So every nation around the world needs to hear us loud and clearly. This is not a game. We're going to take care of the American people, and that America First agenda begins there. So we'll take a few questions.
Hey guys, let me tell you this. It's nice to hear Mike Johnson actually talk like with a backbone, now that Trump's in office. But I love it, guys. We're not playing games anymore.
And whatever you got. Manu, front row, sorry. Go ahead.
One of the big things you're going to deal with is aid for California. The president said on Friday that he would insist on voter ID as a condition for aid to California. Is that going to be a red line for you? Will you insist on voter ID in exchange for aid to California?
Yeah, we've got to work out the details of that. I haven't not spoken to the president about that issue since he said that. He'll be here tonight, of course, for dinner with us, and that's one of the topics of discussion. Listen, there are a lot of issues going on in California, and we have been lamenting the lack of voter security there for some time, election security. We were deeply concerned about it in this last election cycle, and we saw 3 of our seats frankly slip away from us in the weeks that it took to continue counting ballots in California when seemingly every other state and nation in America can get it done. It's inexcusable. Gavin Newsom provides, I think, such a lack of leadership there in so many ways, and it was highlighted by the disaster with the fires. It's so heartbreaking that California citizens are suffering because of the lack of state and local leadership on those issues. They did not manage the forest well. They did not manage the water well. And everyone knew for decades that the eventuality that we've seen over the last couple of weeks here since the fire disasters began was foreseeable. They assumed the risk because of their crazy far-left policies. So we've talked about conditioning the aid that will go there to policy changes. I think that is a common sense notion that is supported by the vast majority of the American people who do not want to subsidize crazy California leftist policies that are dangerous for people. And now what the terms are and the details of that we will be working out. But entwined in all of that is the concern about election security in California, and voter ID is a matter that, again, comports with common sense that most American people see the value in, and it'll be something we'll be trying to advance. Over here, Ken.
Guys, 100%. Why should we subsidize bad policies? We got a new chief, we got a new sheriff in town, guys. We got a new chief who says, you know what? We're going to make sure that whenever we do things, it's done correctly. And what I'm about to show you next, guys, is super important. So legacy media is obsessed over the Trump pardons. 46 minutes from ABC, CBS, and NBC on Trump. But yet when Biden pardons his entire family and the January 6th committee, only 3 minutes. You like how they put a potato over his head? But this is why, guys, this was created right here. Well, I'm sorry, 1 second. Sorry, wrong tab, guys. This is why this was created. The Trump administration has initiated a special project to investigate prosecutors involved in January 6 cases, according to an internal memo. So what you're about to see next is huge. Eric E.T. Terrell with the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Eric some love in the chat, everybody. This is huge, guys, because we're getting the inside scoop on what's about to happen next. Check this out.
In the last days of a presidential administration, it gets pretty chaotic in the White House, and people who want things and, they will come in and there will be a hurried frenzy to put stuff on paper. And that's why there are unprecedented things in these pardons. For instance, the J6 pardons, this has never happened before, where you give a pardon to a category of unnamed people, right? It says to the members of the committee, to the Capitol police officers who testified, to the staff, but it doesn't delineate the name.
And real quick, I don't know if you knew that, what Matt Taibbi just said. This is the same guy who helped reveal the Twitter files that FBI, the Biden administration was working with the FBI to censor people on Twitter. But Biden gave a blanket pardon to police, to the police at the Jan 6 at the Capitol, to the committee, just blanket. So he didn't even put names in there, guys. That's how corrupt this is.
Names of the people who are pardoned. So now, if you want to invoke your pardon, you actually have to go over a test to prove that you're actually part of that category, that I testified before the committee. Does that mean that the committee called you, that you talked to a staffer once, or does that mean you actually sat in front of the hall and testified? It's very weird, and the only explanation that I could come up with from people is that they were in a hurry. They didn't have all the names.
It's amazing.
Right?
So, but why would you preemptively pardon the J6 committee? I mean, that's like the single most legitimate, morally empowered, great group of people ever impaneled in this country. Like, truly.
Well, I mean, there are obviously some theories about why they would do that, right?
What?
I mean,
Mother Teresa, she was such a great person, we're going to preemptively pardon her. Like, what? It's just like crazy.
No, it is absolutely crazy. And if I were some of those people, I'd be offended.
Yes.
Especially the people who testified and who didn't lie under oath,
yes,
for instance, right? Because they're all named. All the police officers who testified to the committee. Now, what if they're only really trying to protect a couple of them, and there are some very conspicuous names?
I think we know who they are.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The ones they're trying to protect.
Right. But what if you're one of the other ones who just gave some testimony?
Well, they interviewed hundreds and probably thousands of people, right?
Yeah, it's some number like that.
Massive number. And I assume most of them told the truth. I mean,
right.
Most people do tell the truth, actually, I think.
I think that's probably the case, yeah. I mean, especially if you're under oath and you're a law enforcement officer, I mean, it's a very serious thing to lie in those situations. And, there are a couple of places in the testimony where it doesn't look good for some of the people who testified. But for the vast majority of them, I would take it as a grievous insult to be given that pardon, and especially to not be named. That's what's so weird about it.
But it suggests what I have thought from the first week, which is there are like serious crimes here.
Yes.
I mean, you talk to Steve Sund, who ran Capitol Police, who's like a non-political person, just career law enforcement, former MP, former Washington, D.C. cop. I don't think he has any weird agenda. His story's so unbelievable.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but man, we have almost 1,700 people watching. This is so amazing, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. It really does help the channel out so much. We're so close to 1,000 likes. Let's go.
They just didn't give him any intel at all and didn't give him any resources, and everybody else knew this was happening except him. The whole thing is so nuts that you're like, wait, there's something going on here. I don't really know. The pipe bombs at the
pipe bombs, the gallows that was erected by some weird unknown group the night before.
Right. Will we ever get disclosure? I guess that's what I want. I just want to know. I am not vengeful. I don't really want to punish people so much as I just want to know. That feels like punishment enough. Will we?
I think we will. I think we're heading into a golden age for investigative journalism. I think this is after 8 years of crazy, misleading news stories and dead ends and unanswered questions and fake news, ranging from Russiagate to Nord Stream to, the COVID origins, where we were actively kept away from one side of that story for years. I think we're going to find out a lot of this stuff. There are investigations already underway, document hunts going on all over the place. There are reports that have been commissioned to look into a lot of these questions, and they're going to be staffed up with a lot of money and a lot of personnel. And it's just an unprecedented situation where, for instance, the DHS or the FBI or the DOJ would be in sync with congressional investigators to the point where they're not going to have to issue subpoenas for a lot of this stuff. They're just going to sit down and say, here's a list of the documents we want to find. And I think that they're going to have that collaborative arrangement.
It's incredible. There's panic. I sense panic. And I sense it in some of these confirmation battles, particularly the sort of offline stuff that you don't see in the media, but just when you find out the lengths to which permanent Washington is going to, say, sabotage Tulsi Gabbard, who's an Army officer who's had a clearance for more than a decade, carries an automatic weapon. Clearly we trust her with America's, defense. Why can't we trust her with America's secrets? Well, of course we can. So what is this? And it really is, people are panicked that what they've been doing is going to come to light, I think.
Guys, people are panicking big time. Trump ain't playing around. Check this out, guys. Trump is moving so fast, guys. It is crazy trying to report all the breaking news. So Trump's team worked with the Inspector General because they wanted to release this. The Inspector General report finds that 90% of IRS audits under Biden's weaponized IRS went after people making less than $400,000 per year. 90% of all the audits happen to people making less than $400,000 a year. I thought we're supposed to go after the rich. I thought we're supposed to make the rich pay their fair share. Why is the majority going towards people that are making less than $400,000 a year? This is where Trump says we need to get rid of the Internal Revenue Service and we need to move to the External Revenue Service and put Americans first. Guys, this is some huge statements, bombshell news from the Trump team. Listen to this.
America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know, the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right? I've also deployed troops to the border, and for the first time in history...
Sorry to interrupt everybody, but this is super important because of what he just said. The time that the United States was the most richest comparatively out of all of our entire since our inception, we didn't even have a federal income tax, guys. Think about that. And that's what Trump says. Why we were the richest in this time when we were just forcing tariffs. Let's get back to that and get away from the federal income taxes and let Americans keep their money.
Locating and loading illegal aliens into military aircraft and flying them back to the places from which they came. And very importantly, America is respected again. We're respected again. Isn't that nice? You know, after years of laughing at us like we're stupid people. And as you saw yesterday, we've made it clear to every country that they will be taking back our people that we're sending out, the criminals, the illegal aliens coming from their countries. We're taking them back, and they're going to take them back fast. And if they don't, they'll pay a very high economic price. In a little while, I'll be signing 4 new executive orders. First is that I'm directing our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who's going to be great, by the way.
Let's go.
Thank you for the support. Thank you very much for the support. You really did support him greatly. I think he's going to be fantastic. I know him very well. I think he's going to be fantastic. He's what we need. To immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans. You know, we protect other countries, but we don't protect ourselves. And when Ronald Reagan wanted to do it many years ago, luckily we didn't. We didn't have the technology then. It was a concept, but we didn't. And now we have phenomenal technology. You see that with Israel. We're out of 319 rockets. They knocked down just about every one of them. So I think the United States is entitled to that. And everything will be made right here in the USA, 100%. And next, to ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, we will get transgender ideology the hell out of our military. It's going to be gone.
Let's go.
In addition, we will stop our service members from being indoctrinated with radical left ideologies such as critical race theory. We're going to stop it. It's already been stopped. It's already been halted, totally halted. And finally, we will offer full reinstatement to any service member who was expelled from the armed forces due to the COVID vaccine mandate. And we will restore them to their former rank with full pay. Particularly in the very near future, we're going to be placing tariffs on foreign production of computer chips, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals to return production of these essential goods to the United States of America. They left us and they went to Taiwan, which is about 98% of the chip business, by the way. Mm-hmm. And we want them to come back. And we don't want to give them billions of dollars like this ridiculous program that Biden has. Give everybody billions of dollars. They already have billions of dollars. They've got nothing but money, Joe. They didn't need money. They needed an incentive. And the incentive is going to be they're not going to want to pay a 25, 50, or even 100% tax. They're going to build their factory with their own money. We don't have to give them money. They're going to come in because it's good for them to come in.
Yep.
They're giving them money. They don't even know what they're going to do with it. I had people tell me, we have no idea. We didn't need money. They don't know if they're probably going to use the money to build in other places, other countries. It's a ridiculous plan, very expensive and ridiculous. The only way you'll get out of this is to build your plant. If you want to stop paying the taxes or the tariffs, you have to build your plant right here in America. That's what's going to happen at record levels. We're going to have more plants built in the next short period of time than anybody ever envisioned before, because the incentive is going to be there because they have no tariff whatsoever. In fact, they have help from us if they build their plant in America.
Yes, baby. Build it in America. Put American jobs back in place, guys. This is phenomenal, just statements made by Trump. Putting America first. Why do we have to continuously keep giving billions of dollars taxpayer money that we don't even have because we're $36 trillion in debt to foreign countries to come here? He said, no, we'll just, if they tariff them, and if they don't want the tariffs, come build your factory here. Guys, this is amazing. ICE announced that 1,179 arrests were made today, setting a new record in President Trump's second term. He is doing what he said he would do, cleaning out the swamp. And not only the swamp, but cleaning out the criminals out of the United States. John Reppy, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go, said, for the kids, God bless America. I love it. And thank you so much, Chrissy E, for the super chat. I love it, said, hi, Joel. Fairly new to your channel, but watching you more and more. Keep up the good work. Loving the truth you're reporting. Thank you. I love President Trump and winning for sure. MAGA. Let's go. Y'all show Chrissy and John some love in the chat, everybody. I want to show you something special, guys, you normally wouldn't see across any other channel, because no matter what the Democrats say, they believe what we believe. They're just following some sort of agenda. Let's listen to a special person talk about immigration just for a little bit, guys. Check this out.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
Guys, does Obama not sound like a Republican? Guys, this was just like a decade ago. This wasn't that long ago. But this just shows you how far that they've come and where they're, whatever agenda they're trying to follow, it's not an America First agenda. But Trump is such on a hot streak, he's bulldozing everything. Michael Lambert, welcome to the family. Let's go. Y'all show Michael some love in the chat, guys. I want to say thank you so much. We've got over 1,600 people watching. This is amazing, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. It really helps the channel. And Della Cole, welcome to the family. Show Della some love in the chat. Guys, check this out.
1 week in and 47's on a hot streak. Saturday, he decided to test his luck at a craps table in Vegas.
Not bad. We've been even. I got it. Thank you.
Primetime never thought we'd see a sitting president in a casino, but as Politico puts it, Trump is everywhere again. As fast as the movers changed out the White House furniture, the country went from an invisible president, unable to command the spotlight, to an omnipresent one who wants the public's attention at all times. Trump's bringing head-snapping change to Washington, overwhelming the system with a volcanic eruption of action.
Let's go.
Axios says, quote, no modern president has done more across more areas of American policy, culture, and life than Trump in the past 6 days.
Wow.
The president hasn't even had the time to pick up his cell. Before last week, if you had Trump's number, good chance he'd pick up and talk. Not anymore. Axios says friends can't even get a hold of him. He wants to focus more on work. Trump World says the president has a chip on his shoulder. His new motto, F-A-F-O. That means F around and find out. And a lot of people are finding out. The 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles, are landing at the border alongside almost 2,000 members of the U.S. military. And from L.A. to Georgia to Chicago, border czar Tom Homan and his crew are busting up migrant gang hotspots. Almost 1,000 illegals were detained just yesterday. Overnight, agents rounded up dozens of Tren de Agua gangbangers at a makeshift nightclub in Denver before they could even finish their Coronas. They were caught holding drugs and guns when DEA kicked the door down.
Dang.
In New York, a migrant with ties to ISIS was cuffed and stuffed in a paddy wagon.
Let's go.
Biden was just letting the guy hang out. Members of MS-13, some wanted for homicide, were scooped up in Boston. Homan says it was a good day, and they're just getting started.
I want to go back to those military flights going south. As you said, we have never seen that before. Is that going to be a constant commitment from the U.S. military every single day to take deportees out?
Ooh.
So after you do that, then you go after everybody who is there illegally.
If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table.
Trump wants the removals to go faster, pushing Homan to hit quotas, 1,500 a day.
Dang.
Almost the end of the month. You got to hit your numbers, Tommy. Homan says he's planning on making the president a lot happier. Haitians in Springfield are hunkering down, waiting for Homan to drop the hammer. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide.
What criminals are hiding in schools?
Look,
Middle schools, elementary schools. You going to go into those?
How many MS-13 members are the age of 14 and 17? Many of them. So, look, if it's a national security threat, public safety threat, and what you need to understand is a case by case. Name another agency, another law enforcement agency that has those type of requirements that they can't walk into a school or a doctor's office or on a medical campus. No other agencies have those standards. The message needs to be clear. There's consequences for entering a country illegally. If we don't show there's consequences, you're never going to fix the border problem.
Police can arrest Americans in schools. Why can't ICE arrest illegals there? The media is complaining and Hollywood's crying. Actress Selena Gomez, who's half Mexican, is very upset that dangerous illegals are being booted out of the country. Tom Homan says, sorry, not sorry.
We're going to do this job, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. If they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operational apology. We're going to make our community safer. We're going to save. Once we lock that border on continuous operation, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, illegal alien crime decrease, sex trafficking decrease. It's just all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward.
The media is still taking the side of foreign nationals. Margaret Brennan at CBS says, come on, JD. Many of these illegals were vetted.
I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted.
That was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
Woo! Sunday was the first time a foreign country told Trump it wouldn't accept their migrant criminals back. 2 American military aircraft were in the air, headed to Colombia. The planes were packed with some bad hombres, Colombian nationals convicted of murder, trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, sexual assault, narcotics. The Colombian president refused to let the planes land, saying Trump was treating Colombians in an undignified fashion by putting Colombian citizens in handcuffs on a military plane.
How would you like to be the pilot of a plane? You got 2 pilots up there, and you got 300 people sitting in a plane. Every one of them either a murderer, a drug lord, a kingpin of some kind, the head of the mob, or a gang member. And you're flying that plane. It's not going to end well. Do you ever see the movie Con Air? That's what, yeah, except here's the difference. The people in Con Air were actors. They weren't nearly as tough as these guys.
Trump was on the front 9 at Doral when he heard Colombia was refusing deportation flights. He immediately posted that Colombia would be hit with 25% tariffs, going up to 50% the following week. Didn't take long for AOC to start complaining about the price of coffee going up. Coffee hit a 45-year high under Biden, but now she cares about prices.
Wow.
Before Trump even finished the round, the Colombian president caved and offered his own plane to personally pick up the migrants. Trump has a mandate from the people, and he's using it. Just the threat of tariffs alone trounced Trudeau out of Canada, made Mexico reinstitute remain in Mexico, forced Colombia to take their criminals back, and brought Denmark to the table to negotiate Greenland.
This is a very different Donald Trump. He's leading a very different administration the way he's attacking things, and the American public is very much more in line with him than they were at any point during his entire first term.
Well, I would say, correction, this is not a very different Donald Trump. This is a very different Donald Trump as being viewed by voters in this
in the way he's going about things.
I have a really hard time believing this.
This is 100% true. I went back. I love spreadsheets. Donald Trump's is the first guy ever whose net approval rating in the first month of his second term is higher than any rating that he had as an entire first term, Kate Baldwin. This is true. I don't make stuff up. The numbers are the numbers.
CNN's hosts are calling their own polls fake news. I would never do that at Fox. You notice what CNN's not showing on their screens? Protests. During the campaign, CNN said Trump's mass deportations were illegal, immoral, and straight out of Nazi Germany. And now that he's carrying them out, the whole country's like, did you see the Chiefs game? The American people were ready for change. And Trump's winning the battle for hearts and minds. The New York Times admits the right owns the culture, and the left is losing the battle of ideas. For the first time in 4 years, people feel like Washington listened to them.
What I'm saying is what resonated with the voter. What voter out there can look at the Democratic Party at this moment in time and say, there's a voice for us, somebody that speaks for us, that goes up on Capitol Hill and fights the fights that we want them fighting on our behalf. They didn't do that. And that's why their behinds are home, and that man is back into the White House, and they want to sit up there and talk. You look at the networks right now, they're talking about, look at it, this is the latest, look at him, here he goes again. Well, you know what here he goes again means? He's doing what he said he was going to do.
Ooh.
He promised you he was going to do these things, and he walked into office week one, and that's exactly what he's doing.
They said Trump couldn't win, tariffs didn't work, and he wouldn't deport. They were wrong about everything. This is what representative government is supposed to look like. They told you it was impossible because they never tried. And now, here we are, just a week in, and it looks like anything is possible.
Guys, this is so amazing, guys. Trump is on a hot streak. Let me tell you this, guys. People are getting into check. Google Maps to update Gulf of America, Mount McKinley, and after Trump orders name changes. Guys, they're doing it, guys. They're following in line, just like they're supposed to. But I want to show you this, because this is super important, because just like you saw with all the mass, going after the criminals, from the leading report, Congress summons the mayors of prominent sanctuary cities, Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York City. They are going to testify before Congress and answer, why are you trying to protect criminals? Why won't you let Homan and why are you fighting them? Because it's happening. And Trump says, we got to get them out. We got to clean up America. No more criminals. These illegal immigrants got to go to make America secure. And I love it, guys. I appreciate you so much. Guys, we've got almost 1,800 people watching, guys. Y'all are the best. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. It really helps the channel. We've got almost 1,500 likes, guys. Y'all are so amazing. Want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, well, I've already asked you to hit the thumbs up like button, but guys, if you don't mind sharing this, guys, we're trying to get the truth out there. We're trying to grow the channel, and it means so much to me. I do want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join, guys. And remember, we are giving back to charity every single month, once a month. With the money that comes from Super Chats, comes from membership fees, we take a portion, we partner with you, and we give back to charity. This channel is going to be known for not only reporting the truth, but giving back. I want to give some shout outs to Ruby Who for gifting One True Life News membership, Eric E.T. Terrell, John Reppy, Chrissy E. Guys, show them some love in the chat. What a wonderful show. We are here to serve you Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Love you all. Appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.